definitely, I'll say a lot of optimism. If you look at the earnings during the course of the earnings, there was a lot of mention on the outlook in terms of how Apple is going to leverage AI, how the future is exciting from the AI perspective, and how Apple will integrate Gen AI. I think a lot of focus on there. And a couple of other things like this is the first quarter when the debut of Vision Pro happened, and they mentioned that almost like more than half of the Fortune 500 companies have bought that. And I believe this optimism is more on the future, although they have guided slightly and like 4 to 5%, we believe, uptake next quarter. But I think markets has responded positively, largely on the China guidance, what they have given, because there was some negative outlook on the China before that. But then Apple has cleared that during the fall, and that has also impacted a bit on the overall earnings.
And you mentioned the corporate buyback program. Of course, part of the reason we saw shares up overnight. But what is the strategy here? 110 billion US dollar buyback. Why now?
I think this signals a very positive trend for future of Apple. So this signifies that Apple is very much positive about the outlook. And there are certain things like services. You have a company who has almost like more than 1 billion subscribers that are paying, and that is something you do not see often in the tech space for a lot of companies. So I think the future is something that is driving Apple to go after that. So another thing that is a major pull over here is, if you look at the entire ecosystem, what Apple has created over the years, it is very central to iPhone. Now, one thing that is key takeaway from this earnings is, even though the iPhone declined, the market has still responded positively to that. And one of the reasons is the services revenue. And services, one thing, because the overall ecosystem of Apple is so strong, the users are logged into that ecosystem, the upgrade rate is high. So sooner or later, you'll see people upgrading to that. And now, they have given this positive indication on the integration of AI. Once the users, it might drive a positive impact on the replacement rate of the iPhones going forward, since iPhone is central to the overall scheme of things for Apple going forward, and hence this positivity going forward.
If we can talk about the China market, of course, a very competitive and a big market for Apple. The company is seeing that its revenue in Greater China fell by 8%. But the company says it still feels confident about its position in the market. Would you agree with the company?
I think there are a couple of reasons. Yes. And China is going through a very different phases. So we have seen in December quarter, you have seen the resurgence of Huawei in the Android space. And the premium space is one area where Apple has been doing really well after the Huawei's ban. But now in the past couple of quarters, there have been comparisons and the speculation. What if the Huawei's rise might impact Apple in the premium side? So these are the kind of dynamics we are keeping a closer eye on. But if you look at the overall Android space, has been also getting very competitive in the premium segment because of the Gen AI features they have already adopted. Qualcomm mentioned that the sales of Snapdragon in Gen 3 with the Gen AI capabilities have been strong in the Android premium space. So overall, it is going to be becoming very competitive for Apple in Greater China. And obviously, in this quarter, we'll have 618 sales. Apple has been reducing prices of their iPhone 15 in Q1. Inventory, we believe, is building up, but it remains to be seen how Apple will counter this competitive pressure in China, mainland China, going forward.